So today we're going to be brewing some extract brews, 2 different batches. We got 2 different size pots here. This is my first pot that I got. It's 8 gallons. I bought it at Walmart for pretty cheap, like 25 bucks. This is my more recent upgrade. This is 10 gallons. I got it online. Somebody sold it for like 75 bucks or whatever. But we're going to be doing 2 different kinds of brews. I got liquid malt extract, 8 pounds of it. And I've got dried malt extract, another 8 pounds of it, as well as all of my equipment here that I need to get it done. So we're going to take a second and go over some more of that stuff. So I'm going to quickly go over some of the equipment I use to make my beer. Obviously I have my brew pot, I've got my stir stick, and I've got my lid. Right next to me I have a carboy that's full of water that I boiled earlier today and let it cool. We're going to use this to add to the wort later on. Right next to it I've got my other carboys. These have already been cleaned and sanitized and they're ready to go. Right here I have my hydrometer. I have some hop bags, as well as my hops, which I'm going to weigh out using my digital scale here. I have my 2 thermometers. I have my teaspoon that I'm going to use to measure out my supermoss and my Y yeast nutrients. I also have an aerator that I'm going to use later on to aerate my wort. And down here I have a bucket of sanitized solution with my auto siphon and my wort chiller. So that's basically all you need in order to make beer. Alright, well now it's time to brew. So I got my 2 brew pots here on the stove. I've already got flames underneath them, so they're heating up. I've got about 4 gallons in this one and another 4 gallons in the other one. Again, these are pretty big sized pots, so I'm able to fit more water. This is 8 gallons and this is 10 gallons. But for most of you first time home brewers, you're probably using whatever you have laying around the house. Hopefully a pot like this. You want to boil as much water as you can, but you also want to leave enough room for the foam to not boil over your brew pot. When it boils over your brew pot, you just have a bigger mess to clean up later on. It's very sticky and it's just a pain to clean up. So make sure you give yourself enough room. Typically you probably want to start with 1.5 gallons or 2 gallons of water. So in the meantime, while my water is warming up, I also want to warm up my liquid malt extract. This stuff is very thick and it's really hard to pour when it's cold, so what I like to do is put it in my kitchen sink here full of hot water and just let it sit there until I'm ready to add it into the boil. That's basically it for now. We're just waiting to boil the water, get it up to about 200 degrees, and in the meantime I'm going to weigh out my hops and get those ready for when I need to add them into the boil. So I want to show you guys real quick in my big brew pot a few things. First I want to show you these markings that I've done. I measured out some water and I took my grinder and I made the markings. This comes in handy when you start doing all grain batches, but for now it doesn't really matter because I don't even have 6 gallons of water in there. But down in the middle here you can see that screen. That's a metal screen that attaches to my ball valve. I'm going to use this brew pot to brew my batch with hops without the hop bag. So I'm just going to throw hops in here and I'm hoping that this screen is going to filter out most of the hops. But I just wanted to show you guys that screen.